Hey guys, welcome back to Two Dudes Talking. Today we're going to be going over some movies that took us by surprise. Neither for good nor bad reasons, maybe a little bit of both, but we hope you enjoy it. Stick around.
So, hey, everybody. So, yeah, me and Josh have several, 10, 15, probably 100 films that have caught us off guard or by surprise, however you want to call it, that we just kind of wanted to discuss today. There's some that have been really good, and then some that have been like, damn, that was disappointing.
Or very disappointing.
Or very disappointing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll just, I guess we'll just list them off real quick, and then we can kind of go into them. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
So the 5 that I kind of wanted to talk about today are The New Lion King, The Last Jedi, The Greatest Showman, shout out Jack Sumner, Knives Out, and Avengers Infinity War.
Great movies. Mine would be The Dark Tower, Stephen King, About Time, In the Heart of the Sea, and then Ready Player One.
Okay.
Big surprises.
Yeah, those are some good ones too. So before we get into all this, guys, if you could please definitely like this video, give us a share, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot, allows us to keep doing this. And so what about, let's start with In the Heart of the Sea, because I'm familiar with that one as well. What about that one that really got you surprised or caught you off guard?
So I saw In the Heart of the Sea in theaters. I love Chris Hemsworth. The Thor movies. He's had The Extraction recently on Netflix. I mean, he's been around the block for a minute.
Right.
He's great. But In the Heart of the Sea is, in essence, a movie about the story of Moby Dick being told to the author from a survivor's perspective.
Right.
So, you've got this really classic, probably the most boring book I've ever read, ever in my life. But
you actually read Moby Dick?
I read Moby Dick when we were in school.
It was was it required?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I've ever read the book because I don't think it was required in the classes I took, but yeah.
It was totally worth it.
Okay.
But it was long and boring. I mean,
sounds boring.
It's crazy. That being said, you get to the movie, and I did see this one in theaters. Thank goodness, because I've never had a movie panic attack quite like that.
Okay.
So again, this is the story of Moby Dick. So you got these men. So it's Cillian Murphy, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Holland, Brendan Gleeson, a couple of really big names that are going back another 50 years prior to the writing of Moby Dick to their experiences, manually whaling.
Right.
Which is just terrifying to me. And I remember seeing these guys in the boats going after these creatures that were 5-10 times the size of the big boat back there.
Yeah.
And then
let's take a spear to the biggest animal imaginable
and stick it in the water and let it run down to this tied to this tiny boat that we have and we're in. Otherwise, we're getting in the water with them. Yeah. Visually, this movie was stunning.
Yeah.
Just so impressive. But it was the premise of it in general was so intense. I remember I'm not going to give too much away about this movie. It's great. It's not as boring as the book, I promise.
Yeah.
But there was a scene after they were shipwrecked on an island and they all had to make the conscious decision to stay on this island or get in these little makeshift boats somewhere out there. Right. And they look out and this giant monster just decimates 3 or 4 of their things. And he's like, come on, guys, I see you. I know you're getting hungry. I am too. And I got time. It would just horrify me. So I went into that movie all right, we got another action.
Right.
And it was great. But the size of it made me feel so small. And I mean, I don't know if with it being something so foreign, I've never been whaling. I've been deep sea fishing one time when I was 2 times before I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
So the I don't know. The way it was able to make me feel anxiety as if I was on that boat in any capacity, I was very positively surprised by that.
Yeah. I have a fear of not necessarily what's in the ocean, like a whale or a shark or whatever. It's this weird fear of like something being under me, and I'm not able to control my, myself.
Right.
I'm not in the environment I'm supposed to
You're
be
at a
in.
disadvantage already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's creepy to me. So yeah, in the heart of the sea, when they're out there,
Right. And you see the things going under the boat. Like, yeah, it's horrifying.
at however fast they're going and how
Right.
big they are. There's like several boats though, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it follows the larger ship.
Right.
And then, they have the little like rowboats. They go out in rowboats.
Yeah, they're basically
To
bigger
kill
than
giants.
just barely bigger than canoes.
Yeah.
But like not as big as like a casual rowboat.
Right.
It's
enough to hold them and the supplies
for one
as they go
purpose.
after
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Well, it's something else I really, it did a good job of taking it back. I remember the very end of the movie. This is not a spoiler or anything. It's just a neat line. Like the whole purpose of this is whaling. They went for the oil, the blubber, and everything. And
The blubber.
the blubber. And they were talking about at the very end. The guy's giving the story is like, I heard oil came out of the ground in like Minnesota or something crazy, and like these guys have been using it to light street lamps, like fire. I mean, this is well before our time. Yeah. So when he said that, I just felt his pain. I was like, oh, now we got oil coming out of the grounds. Like I was really dealing with that or something.
What did I do with why did I have to do all of that stuff?
Yeah. Almost die.
Yeah. It's like solar energy now, or even some, warp drive generator that we might find in the coming years that you're just like, man.
Looking back at cars. Yeah, exactly.
People died and fought to die over this stuff. And now here we are. No, that's a great movie. Yeah, that made me feel very uncomfortable, especially when they've been, not to give it away, but like obviously, being stranded out there in the ocean, just out of your element, just screwed.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And really good job in the Heart of the Sea for portraying it so well.
Yeah. Director Ron Howard, shout out, boss. It's a great movie. Yeah. So, moving on to like one of mine, I'll start with, so on my list, I have 2 films from Rian Johnson.
Okay.
The Last Jedi, Knives Out. Good director, The Last Jedi. That's what I want to talk about right now.
Okay.
You know how much I love Star Wars.
I know how much you love The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't. I love The Last Jedi I don't know. That movie, I don't think I'm the stereotypical Star Wars fanboy.
Right.
That you would picture in your mind as being a Star Wars fanboy.
Maybe.
What I picture, yeah, maybe.
Nerd.
What I picture as is like, I don't know. I don't want to even credit that. But anyway, or start that trouble right now.
Fido?
Yeah. But like Disney, and this is where I can't really discredit Rian Johnson for The Last Jedi because I don't know how much control he actually had over it. Because Disney, the producers, they had
a lot of say.
A lot of say.
A lot of accountability for that movie Disney has.
Yeah. Force Awakens set up a lot of stuff that could have been awesome in The Last Jedi. But they decided to just go a totally different way in almost every way.
Right.
Which, as a filmmaker, that's kind of cool. It's kind of ballsy. It's cool to do that from time to time. And I even applaud him for trying to make a different movie than all the other Star Wars movies because they kind of do repeat themselves in a way. The Force Awakens is a copy of New Hope.
Right.
But it's like, this movie was so bad. It was surprisingly bad.
Yeah.
It's like, I've never had so much expectation going into a sequel for getting things answered from the first one that were just let go.
Well, The Force Awakens, they did set up so many questions,
Yeah.
and baited so many people into thinking that it was going to be something different,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even. I mean, to be honest, I don't even think it was on par with the second work. I mean, this is the garbage. It was garbage to me.
Yeah. It's not a good movie.
No.
Made a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
because it's Disney. It's Star Wars franchise. You know, like people are going to go see it that are big fans of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the writers, producers know that.
Right.
And they take that in their mind and they're saying like, okay, we know people are going to come to this movie, so we know it's not going to be a flop or a bomb.
Right.
Even though people will argue Solo was, but they marketed that movie wrong.
Right.
And that's a whole nother story. But it's like they'll take that attitude and they'll be like, okay, now we can experiment with some stuff. And that movie was so divisive. It's like Trump Biden right now. Divisive.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I hated that movie.
Well, there was some really great acting. There were some neat things. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
love Adam Driver.
Adam Driver's great. Daisy Ridley's great.
Yep.
And John Boyega's great.
And in those roles, they were great.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it just wasn't good.
Like, R.I.P. Carrie Fisher,
Yeah.
but
Let that woman rest.
yeah, it's got to go. Like she's beloved, but they just did the character just like, I don't know.
I think one of the worst things I've seen, or most disrespectful things I've seen on film, was her floating through the atmosphere. And I was like, I almost want to leave this movie right now for her sake.
Yeah, I'm literally watching this with Dad. I think the first time in theaters.
Yeah.
And I just look at him. I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is stupid. And then to carry her into the third one as well,
Yeah.
off of footage they shot in the first one, or first and second one, is like, this is. But anyway, like the film itself, surprisingly bad. It was just like, from even the bad guy not getting, like, they just, Snoke having, like, they literally summed him up in the third one with one line, but it's because in the second one they just did him so wrong.
Right.
It was like, screw it.
Did a lot of people wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that movie's surprisingly bad. So,
It is.
yeah. How about one of your next ones?
Well, this is this is completely different. I mean, it is one that surprised me in a good way. About Time.
Oh, yeah.
So we're both pretty big fans of time stuff in
Yes.
general. Not just like the idea of time travel, but if you play around with that a little bit and do it just a teensy bit differently, it can turn out really cool. And this one did. For me, though, that wasn't what surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into this movie. It's Domhnall Gleeson, Rachel McAdams, Bill Nighy.
Yep.
And I think it came out in about 5 years ago.
Margot Robbie
Yeah.
for like
A second.
10 minutes.
Yeah, but the what surprised me about this movie is I go into it thinking it's this rom-com, like romantic
Yep.
comedy,
Yep.
and okay with that. Like, I mean, it was a good date movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ended up watching it by myself. I had a great date by myself.
Yeah.
But there's a point in that movie. So virtually, a man in this particular family finds out through his father that all the men in his family after a certain age and up until a certain point are able to time travel back and forth, blah, 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 blah.
However they
And-
want.
Yep. Pretty much they have to go into a closet, think about where they want to be, and then boom, they'll go back to it.
Dope.
So yeah, and it's great. So this guy falls in love with this girl. It's crazy. You'd never imagine that. So as he misses his chance, his dad's like, "Yo, boy, come here. We got to talk about this."
Yeah.
Lets him in on the secret, and then it's a great that's a great story in and of itself. Like, a guy uses time to goes back in time to get this girl or take another shot at it. Da 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 da. Well, he keeps trying. It keeps on not working, and then you find out that's not what that movie's about at all. Because at a certain point, which is not revealed, this guy can't do it anymore.
Right.
And I ugly cried over the delivery of this movie
Yeah.
so hard. I went after this movie went off. I went and gave my dad the biggest hug.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to get choked up thinking about this. It's
Yeah.
like it was such a profound moment that again, when I turned it off, I was like, I have so much that I need to not be focusing on like the first half of that movie and be thankful for while I still have it.
Right.
And again, as it coming off as like yet another romantic comedy, I did not see that. But man, Bill Nye and Donald Gleason were just
yeah.
great, a great pair. I'd never,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd seen Bill Nye before many times, but I don't think I'd ever seen him in such a real world role like that. It was Shaun of the Dead or
Pirates.
or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Or what's the vampire?
Underworld.
Yeah,
All these things that are a little different.
Yeah.
But him being a dad and just being so real, and then again the turning point of that film when it gets really sad or really deep is just so heavy.
Yeah.
Loved it.
So what Josh is talking about, and without giving it away, is with time travel, every time travel movie has its like, they break the science of it.
Right.
Obviously. Not getting too deep into that or whatever. But like in this film, he's experiencing these certain things that like, if you go back in time and change one thing, it obviously changes the future. So then it becomes a problem in certain areas of your life. And so as you can imagine, changing your own life, you will run into like
Issues.
dang, I don't have this, that, or that person anymore.
Right.
Or all these things. So it makes a really good movie. Soundtrack's dope. But yeah, to agree with you, like it caught me by surprise too, because your brother recommended it to me. He's like, dude, you're going to ugly cry in this. I watched it by myself.
Right.
Ugly cry.
Ugly cry.
Because, there's two really good scenes in there, not to give them away, but
Right.
there's the one, the ugly cry scene, but then the one with another family member, which was tough.
Yeah.
And that was like, dang,
It's a very
that was great.
priority driven movie, and you just don't even realize it until it's too late.
Yeah.
Very good.
So it's on Netflix right now. I think it came out in 2013 or 11. It's one of the two. But, so not too old.
Highly recommendable.
Yeah. Go watch it if it's still on Netflix by the time you see this. But, yeah. So another film of mine, I want to go back to Rian Johnson. It came out, I think, earlier this year or late last year.
Last year.
Knives Out.
Yep.
Have you seen it?
We saw that in theaters together.
We saw it
You
together.
jerk.
Dang. Okay. We watch so many movies.
Yeah.
That I just don't know.
Yeah, no, we did. I think that was one of the last 2 or 3 movies that I saw in theaters.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Great movie.
Really, really good.
Total redemption
Yeah.
in my book for Rian Johnson. But he's made great movies like Looper.
Right.
Yeah, he's done good stuff before.
That soundtrack.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There was so it's obviously like this murder mystery with this family involved. It's kind of like Clue.
Right. That's where when I saw the
Yeah.
preview, I was like, this looks like a pretty cool movie
Yeah.
version of Clue.
Yeah. So there's obviously it's setting up for a twist, which is, usually can be a really good thing or a really bad thing. In this movie, I was like, damn,
Okay.
this is a really good thing. It was so fun to figure it out because they gave you so much information that a normal twist movie would not give you
Right.
early.
And that really throws you off for the rest of that movie.
Yeah, so good. So there's a great cast. I forget the main girl's name, but she's in she's also in Blade Runner 2049. She's in the new James Bond film.
Oh, yeah.
Just awesome actress. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name right now, but you're new and you're awesome and you're amazing.
Chris Evans
Chris Evans is in it.
was amazing.
Is
in
it-
that.
is
He
it
was
Don
so
Johnson?
Mean. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Evans is so mean.
He is so funny.
Seeing him in a different movie, and I know he's been in other ones like Snowpiercer and stuff.
Right.
But seeing him in a different movie than Captain America, the guy that you
So far from that role.
the guy that you hate because he's so good
Right.
of a person, that's awesome.
Yes.
Obviously, there's other great actors. In
Daniel
there too.
Craig.
Daniel Craig. Yeah. Wow.
Big
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
My mustache is too big to impersonate his lips. If you could just give me a second.
Yeah. He's got like this like. Was he from like Louisiana or something? He's like from some southern state. Just,
I don't know. I thought he was British.
No, he's definitely like southern. in the movie.
Georgia.
Yeah, just some hard southern drawl.
And the cutest lips.
And the cutest lips apparently. But yeah, so that movie was a great experience.
Mhm.
Going into theaters.
It's always more fun watching it in the theaters. I just get so much more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, it's an event then.
It is.
You know, it's cool. But yeah, having known like The Last Jedi and just being like, dang, that movie sucked, you know,
Right.
coming into this one, but seeing the trailer and be like, damn, that's a good trailer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was a good surprise.
Right.
That was a good one. So how about another one from you?
So I'm not always so happy and lovey. The Dark Tower. So we've got another episode coming about Stephen King. That's my man. I love him. He's the master of horror is what he's titled as, but one of the best authors, or at least one of my favorite authors, one of the best authors out there, in my opinion.
I would say, as a person that has never read any of his books,
One of the most successful.
I would say he is one of the best authors.
Yeah.
Just because of the body of work and how much, like, he's praised, dude.
The reach of
Yeah.
Stephen King is huge.
Yeah.
So this Dark Tower came out. Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey and the Allstate. What's in
Oh, that guy.
that guy with the crazy voice?
Great actor.
Great voice. I can't think of his name. Anyways, the story, I'm gonna make it as short as possible because we do have an episode coming about Stephen King, and I'll talk gladly about this in there. It's kind of multi-universal, multi-dimensional existence. Everything is all connected. So if we're in a big wheel, the tower, the Dark Tower, is right in the middle. Our world right here, and the other main one right here, are where the two main characters come from. If anything happens on one of our existences, it affects everything else much more drastically. So the main character, Roland, is one of Stephen King's best jobs of character progression, and that's one of the things he is the best at.
Because that book series is 8 books.
It's 7
Yeah.
and a half, maybe 8.5. I can't remember. I mean, it's been a minute, but they came out with The Wind and Key Through the Keyhole in 2013, which was like a prequel backing it up, or like in the middle of the story. It's just crazy.
Right.
But this guy is trying to protect the tower because there are people trying to destroy the tower. If they do, all of existence ends. That's Matthew McConaughey. I wouldn't use this phrase lightly. I'm not going to use this phrase lightly. I'm going to use it right now. They raped, pillaged, and burned the body of the Dark Tower in that movie from what it could have been with the books. I mean, it's a good story about a person with nothing except for goal, a completely one direction driven person, not having no compassion,
Right.
on their quest to do this and find this Dark Tower and keep it safe and and they bring love into that man's life. Stephen King brings love into that man's life over 7.5 books and all these wonderful. Some of Stephen King, one of the characters in the Dark Tower book series is a pet. It's like if a dog had a baby with a lemur and it could talk a little bit. It's the coolest thing in the world, and I was so devastated at the things that happened to these characters, even the little pets in the books. But you try and cram all that into a one-sitting movie, do some mid-range graphics, steal the lines, don't explain the plot at all, and then you have to face also coming out between the two It movies. Like, I mean, you just had one of Stephen King's best adaptations on film was the first part of the new It series.
Right.
The very next Stephen King that comes out is this one, followed by Pet Sematary, another amazing adaptation.
Right.
But Stephen King's masterwork was just total garbage on screen. And
And but you were telling me this the other day, but they tried to put all 7 or 8 books in that film, which is a disaster.
yeah, I mean they took the least important parts of each one, if anything. I mean they just did it was a very, very disappointing. I mean I knew it wasn't going to be the best. I knew it wasn't going to be an It or the blah 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 or even some of the lower budget movies. I knew it wasn't going to be on that par, but I was surprised at how bad it was.
Yeah.
I felt for Idris Elba. I love him.
Yeah. Yeah. And Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, but I hope they lost sleep over that. I do. Because
Oftentimes the actors have nothing.
all right, yeah, but
Yeah.
still, I mean, I know I would, if I was an actor, if I was the character of Roland, I would lose sleep over that. Not even if I had done a bad job or a great job. Like being associated with that movie
Yeah.
would bother me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you're obviously coming at this one
Stephen King fan.
but as the adaptation.
Yeah.
You know the books. So
Yeah.
therefore it's like it's just a bad adaptation.
Terrible adaptation.
Is it a bad movie?
Yes.
Okay. So like anybody that has never seen or read the books, would they go watch this movie? Would it be still a bad movie?
I had several people in the military reach out to me when that one came out. And they're
Right.
like, yo, dude, I know you're the Stephen King guy, like of our buddies, but I don't think The Dark Tower is for me. I just hated that movie.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah.
It was just bad. And that really upset me probably more than anything else about it, was that somebody else was able to write off
Stephen
the
King.
pinnacle of Stephen King's works because of how bad that movie was.
Yeah. That happens every day.
Yep. I mean, I went immediately after watching Ready Player One, found out there was a book, and I wanted to read it
Right.
because it was that good.
Right.
But this one,
Yeah. So I don't feel as strongly about this next film, but as you do about The Dark Tower.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the new Lion King.
yeah,
The new Lion King came out last summer?
start of last year, last
Yeah,
summer,
yeah.
last year or something.
Awful. Trash. You heard it here.
Drag them through the mud.
I hate calling stuff trash because people just use that like trash.
But
But
it's disregardable.
yeah, it's definitely disregardable. Like, so, you know, growing up, that movie came out in '94, the original Lion King. Great movie.
Yeah.
Awesome. You know, Mufasa, tear.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. Good soundtrack, everything.
I think that was the first movie that did make me cry,
Wow.
was Lion King. I think that was it, was the Mufasa scene.
That will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will definitely do it. So, you know, when you're comparing two movies, you got to be careful because, like that, like a redo, like Lion King, the new Lion King, Aladdin, new Aladdin,
Yeah.
Pet Sematary from the 80s, 90s to the new one.
I think it was like, early 90s to the new one.
Yeah. This one, like, it's beautiful as far as the technology because I think everything in it is fake,
Yeah.
like almost like everything.
It's trashed in a pretty digital package.
Yeah, it's just like it's a beautiful little thing, and
Yeah.
you know, has like 15 to 20 amazing big name actors voicing these characters
Right.
and stuff. You know, Beyonce, Seth Rogen, Donald Glover.
So what I think is neat about about all the remakes, like the Aladdin
Mm-hmm.
and this, I mean, for kids this day and age,
Yeah,
you know, they may grow up loving that movie,
true.
and
Absolutely.
then they may go back later and be like, "Dang, dude, this is wonderful. Why wasn't I watching that?" You know, have something
Yeah.
later appreciation in life. But
Yeah. So the biggest thing is
Yeah.
like it's really almost shot for shot the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
At least a lot of the intro is, and
it's very similar.
same storyline for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like almost down to the dialogue. It's almost exactly
Right.
the same. But the thing about it is like you have these realistic animals that look amazing on screen,
Mm-hmm.
from lions to monkeys to giraffes to
Oh my,
everything. Yeah. Oh my.
oh my.
that look amazing as far as like what digital stuff has done.
Mm-hmm.
But you're giving them personification. Like you're giving them these human qualities
Right.
that don't translate into their physical displays
The anatomy.
of these emotions.
Right.
So you got like, Simba and Nala having this like argument about why he should come back to Pride Rock.
Or
and
this
stuff. Yeah. Or this
moment.
or this love scene. And it's like, it's not translating on a human level.
Right.
Like you get it. You get it from the dialogue and stuff, but it's not, it's such a crossover of like how like two lions would actually do this stuff if they even do this stuff,
Right.
have
Well,
these
they
conversations,
right.
which you can get past that in an animated movie and stuff way
Much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I was thinking of like the sad eyes or whatnot
Yeah.
on the cartoons.
Yes.
It's natural because it's not
Yeah.
on a real looking thing.
But it's like,
Yeah.
yo, this lion, while a real lion does have these emotions, I'm sure they're sad, they're happy, they're chilling, whatever, they're not having these emotions like this.
Right.
And it's like, it's a disconnect.
It just didn't go well. Yeah.
It's just not a good movie. And I hate to say that because like, I'm sure there's a lot of good voice acting in it, but it just doesn't translate.
Right.
It's just
And that's important. That's important
like-
to look at.
Yeah. It's just like,
So,
cool. Like the Mufasa scene, as epic as the 94 one is, where you're just like, yo, that was tough. This one, not the same.
right.
Just wasn't. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, bud.
cool. So, terrible movie. Lion King, not that good. So we actually have just a few more minutes. So, like, name a couple, just kind of bullet them off that you said Ready Player One earlier.
Absolutely.
Great film. We've talked about
I
that
feel
before.
I feel like we should do a shorter
Yeah.
for this. So again, Ready Player One takes place 2045. We all now live and interact in a digital environment, and the guy that created it comes up with a contest: poor versus rich, individual versus the establishment. But what really took me away was the imagination and how that transferred onto the screen.
Right.
I mean, it was just amazing. I was not ready for the music. I was not ready for the graphics. The fact that it was taking place in a digital environment gave them so much more leeway to play with those, like the Stephen King Shining scene. Like it was everything was already fake.
Right.
So or in the program. So I was just taken aback by that one.
Yeah, that one surprised me because it's one of the first movies that I blindly went to go see, not knowing anything about it.
Same.
Never seen the trailer. Just a guy, your brother, shout out Wade, who would just like, yo, let's go see this movie.
Right.
And I was like, and it comes on, and I was like, damn, this is amazing. Just amazing movie.
From the start to finish, that was a treat.
Yeah.
Very good surprise.
A couple other ones that I mentioned earlier in the show was The Greatest Showman. Shout out Jack Sumner again. He showed me that movie like 3 weeks ago. I'm crying.
Yeah.
It makes me just want to run through a wall. It's so inspirational.
Right.
I hate musicals, live action musicals anyway, that are just like, I just hate them. I don't know why.
Right.
There's a few good ones, but for the most part. But this movie, man, Hugh Jackman, he's a beast.
Kills it.
He's a beast. So it's about P.T. Barnum, discovering his purpose,
Right.
creating the circus in the early stages, way before the Bailey guy got there and
Right,
all that
right,
stuff.
right.
So, and then Infinity War. So, like, if you haven't seen Infinity War, I don't care because
Yeah, go ahead and turn this off because
Yeah.
with this, if you haven't
Yeah.
seen it, this show's probably not for you.
the ending of Infinity War, I jumped into that franchise 10 years in, not having kept up with all the
Marvel
all
series
the
in and of
series,
its-
all the movies. But when I saw that trailer and I knew that Josh Brolin was Thanos, I was like, I'm going to go see this movie
Right.
because Josh Brolin's the GOAT.
He is the man.
Um,
Except for those balls on his chin in that one movie. Infinity War.
Infinity War. Yeah, exactly. The ending of that movie, the snap. First off, before we get into what actually happens in the snap, it's that when Thor puts that axe in his chest, you think the dude's done.
Yeah.
I'm just like, heck yeah.
What's the next one going to be about? Yeah.
Dude is done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, thank you, Thor, the GOAT, who is my favorite Avenger.
Yeah, yeah.
But
100%.
then catching you off guard with the should have gone for the head, bing, and you're just like, oh my gosh. Oh man. And then so obviously the snap is eliminating half of life throughout the
Right.
entire universe, for those that haven't seen it. But then you see all
Like as these people are, if Will and I are in this room right now, one of us is turning to sand
Yeah.
and blowing away
Just
with all,
ash.
complete chaos. Yep.
But yeah, seeing some of your favorite characters that you've grown to love over the last 10 years just disappear.
And I'll say I fell victim to that too, because everybody and their mama was talking about the Tom Holland
Yeah.
scene. And that I saw it opening night, all of this stuff. I stayed up on the
Yeah.
Marvel series,
Yeah.
as opposed to you coming in late. Like that still killed me.
Yeah.
I'd say going along with that, the beginning of Endgame, when you're with Hawkeye and his family, I
man.
was like, I thought I was done with this.
Nope.
I was like, no.
You one more time.
Yeah, no. That was a really, really good one.
Yeah. It's like Infinity War. They lost. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you're not supposed to lose.
Right.
Not like that.
Not like that. Yeah.
And you did. So
Right.
that one was a great off guard.
Yeah.
Catching you off guard. Like, I remember
Leaving it that way was really,
Facebook being like if Facebook had a face
yeah.
when that movie came out, it would have been like,
Apple?
exactly. Apple.
Apple.
That was a great movie to catch me off guard. So, but I think we're out of time.
Word.
That was a great episode.
It was. So, guys, listen, not only, we would love it if you give us some of the things that caught you off guard, but if you haven't seen any of these, check them out. Like, About Time. I'm telling you, if you're a dude, watch that movie. It's a romance comedy, and you will cry. I will buy your lunch if you don't. I mean, it's like that.
Great movie.
So, thank you guys for joining us. We always enjoy the time with y'all, and we'll see you guys next time on Two Dudes Talking.
See you guys.
See ya.